Welcome to the Project with Sam and Lewis, the podcast with a mission to cover every project throughout pop culture and history. I'm Sam.
And I'm Lewis.
And on today's episode, we are talking about the 1976 action flick, Project Kill.
We certainly are, starring the late, great Lesley Nielsen.
Yes, you may know him from Airplane or The Naked Gun.
Oh, you're covering the bit that I do when we start the thing now.
But from this, you'll know him as the film I fell asleep to.
This is pre-comedic Lesley Nielsen.
Although, you know, there's some pretty funny stuff in this, what I remember.
Unintentionally, but yeah, we'll get into that when we get into that.
If you want to skip ahead, we've got time codes in the episode description. Before that, how are you, Lewis?
Yeah, not bad. We're recording early in the week, so the weekend's just happened really, and had a busy weekend actually. It was good fun.
Yeah.
Also, work was bad today because there's building works going on, and
yeah, you said
some guy with a big hammer who spent all day hammering a wall. Not fun.
It's just next to you, just to try and piss you off. Yeah.
I literally had to, like, the last hour of the day, just put headphones on and just head
just
down
get on
work.
with stuff. Yeah.
How are you?
Cool. Yeah, I'm all right. Yeah. Kind of chill weekend. I was working over the weekend, but yeah, it was all right. Not too bad. Had an all right day today as well. Yeah. Start of the week, ready to go. We're ahead of schedule now, aren't we? Well,
yeah.
more so than normal anyway.
Yeah, more so than normal.
So, yeah, before we get into the main topic, we do a bit of project news, Lewis.
We always do. Google the word project, see what news comes up. And I've got 2 pieces for us this week.
Fantastic.
Both of which you may be interested in.
Lovely.
Makes a nice change. So, first one is from NME.
Ooh.
Kanye West and Jamie Foxx reunite and hint at new project.
Oh, lovely.
So it seems like they've hinted at a new collaborative project. They previously worked together on music, including collaboration on West's hits, Slow Jams, and Gold Digger.
I was going to say Gold Digger is the one that I think most people would know there.
But,
with Jamie Foxx doing the kind of iconic singing on that, which you know, I didn't realise for a while.
I always kind of forget that, like, the two of them are friends, because they seem like, I think it's because I know Jamie Foxx more as an actor these days.
Yeah.
They seem so, like, worlds apart. But...
And I always felt like Jamie Foxx was like 10 years older than him, but they're probably a similar age, aren't they?
Yeah, Kanye West is
I have no idea how old Jamie Foxx is, to be honest.
I think he's like nearly 50, isn't he?
He is 54.
Oh, that's even older than I thought.
He's from Texas. Oh.
But yeah, I'm sure fans of the music of Kanye West and Jamie Foxx will be excited for this.
I'm sure they will.
It's not always been my kind of thing, but you know, sounds fun.
Yeah. I mean, if it's a decent track that they drop, then I'm sure we'll all get on board.
Yeah, why not? It seems weird because Jamie Foxx always comes across as such like a down-to-earth, normal guy.
Yeah,
and Kanye
in
West
contrast,
is quite the opposite to that.
Yeah, I mean, especially recently. Well,
yeah.
I mean, for the last 10 years, really, he's had some struggles, hasn't he? Some quite public,
particularly since
issues.
Him and Kim Kardashian split up. So I'm all involved in the hot goss of the celebrity world.
No, I did see a lot just pre-Super Bowl. There was a lot of stuff. He was being very publicly kind of weirdly emotionally abusive in a lot of ways. I know he's publicly been diagnosed with kind of bipolar. But
very aggressive towards Pete Davidson as well.
Yeah, and then he posted a screenshot of supposedly a text that Kim Kardashian had sent him saying, like, stop this, people are gonna hurt Pete. And then he captioned it, no one do anything to Pete on my behalf. As if that just makes it all better, you know?
Yeah.
It's like people, you know, it's kind of, he's not very responsible with his fame, I don't think.
He's not. That's what happens when you surround yourself with people who just agree with everything you say.
Yes, yeah.
It's dangerous
yes,
world.
Exactly. Like, yes, yay.
So, yeah, there's not too much to say on that. But the other bit of news is Charlie Cox confirms return as Daredevil in upcoming MCU project.
I did see this, yeah.
I thought you might. So it's not specific to anything. I mean, we all kind of had the idea that he'd come back after his little cameo appearance.
Yes.
In that film that we don't talk about.
Just in case anyone hasn't seen the only film that he could have cameoed in the last, well, ever, really, to be honest.
Eternals.
Wouldn't be surprised, to be honest.
Yeah, he was asked about his future in the MCU, he said, "I know something. I don't know much, but I know there'll be something else."
Yeah.
So it's kind of hinting that something's going to come along.
I mean, there's been rumors that She-Hulk will be an appearance from him because
lawyery
Jennifer
stuff as well.
Is she called Jennifer Walters? No, Jennifer Walters is the actress who played Mallory Archer. I'm pretty sure. Jennifer something. Yeah. But yeah, she's a lawyer, and it's supposed to be kind of a legal drama alongside the superhero stuff.
Which Daredevil was as well.
It is Jennifer Walters, right? Okay, cool. Yeah, so it would make sense for him to make like at least a Matt Murdock cameo again. Yeah, maybe have a bit of Daredevil stuff at the end or something.
As of the 1st of March, and so by the time this episode comes out, Daredevil will no longer be on Netflix.
Ah, damn it!
It's annoying that I didn't finish watching.
I know, yeah. Me and Amy were, I think, 2 episodes from the end of season 2.
I finished season 2 and made the mistake of watching The Defenders, and it just put me off.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I said to Amy about it, and I think she was quite happy to just skip that, to be honest. Yeah. I think you can catch up with what happens. Although, without spoiling it for anyone who hasn't seen it, main character from season 2 is quite prominent in Defenders as an antagonist. Elektra.
Oh, yeah.
She's in it quite a bit.
Yeah, she is. I thought you were talking about Punisher, and I was like, no, he's not in Defenders.
That would have been better. Apparently, there was 2 seasons of Punisher.
Yeah, there was.
I didn't even watch one.
Oh, they were both good.
I watched like 2 episodes, and I was like, this is pretty good. But like, I think I was a bit like MCU Netflixed out at that point. Because
both seasons were good.
Yeah,
I enjoyed them.
I think it was... I can't remember who the actor is who played... he was in Westworld, the dickhead guy in Westworld. Dark hair, bit of a beard.
Yeah, that guy.
He's in season 1 at least. I don't know if he's in both. But yeah, he's a good actor.
Yeah, he is good. That
guy's good.
Yeah, no, Punisher was good. It's one of the better Netflix series.
Yeah, I will. I mean, it's going to go to Disney Plus. I think it's all but being confirmed.
That's the plan.
I think they might do I imagine they'll do like a month off, like where it's not on anything, to drum up a bit of like, I can't watch it. Where am I watching?
Oh no, how am I going to watch Iron Fist now?
Imagine if they just put up like everything but Iron Fist. They're like, no one likes Iron Fist.
I saw, on a completely unrelated note, that apparently Black Bolt is going to have a cameo.
Right, okay, so I kind of mentioned the Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness Super Bowl trailer. There's a lot of rumors about cameos because of multiverse stuff. Yeah, doing a bit of what they may or may not have done in the unknown Spider-Man film that we're not talking about, bringing back people from previous roles. The trailer all but confirms somebody that's not Black Bolt. And I won't spoil it for you, Liz, because you haven't seen it.
No, don't say.
But it's the implication is that maybe have you heard of the Illuminati in Marvel?
Yeah.
You know, Council of
I saw a YouTube
and Black Bolt is traditionally one of them as the leader of the Inhumans.
Yes, of course.
So
it surprised me if they pulled that back in, because that was bad.
I mean, they should take it as an opportunity to recast, really.
The thing is, I like the actor Anson Mount.
Yeah,
is in Star Trek Discovery season 2, and he's really good.
They could do the Netflix thing and keep the actor, but redo the. I mean, maybe recast some of them. I didn't really like all of the casts from what I saw.
No.
I didn't really like most of them, to be honest. He's good in stuff, Anson Mount.
But he spent the entire season looking like he had a frog in his mouth.
Yes, even more than Tom Holland used
even
to.
More than Tom. Yeah,
I feel like they could have done some telepathy stuff and had his voice.
They could have done so much more,
or even maybe some sign language with subtitles. I think he's just looking at people with angry faces.
In Star Trek Discovery, he's so like charming and charismatic. It's like he's clearly got it in him, and they've just gave him somebody just staring intensely for 13 episodes.
Yeah, very strange choices. But yeah, I think there's been rumors, as there always is, that there'll be some X-Men recasts. So
yeah,
I think one of the rumors was that we'll see the new Wolverine for the first time, stuff like that. Yeah. But at the same time, it would also make sense to have a final appearance of Hugh Jackman. But again, he kind of had that with Logan.
Logan was such a good point.
I think they could bring back other X-Men characters.
Yeah.
People that haven't necessarily had such an ending. Although, you know, like Professor X and Wolverine both had pretty good endings. And although, anyway,
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm sure they'll have some returning characters. I think there's rumors that was it Ioan Gruffudd who plays Mr. Fantastic in the original Mr. Fantastic, the Naughties one.
Oh yeah.
There's been rumors again. I don't think they're founded on anything that he'll be one of the people on the council. Maybe a different version of him or a version with a beard.
They
or something.
should just recast.
But the thing is, it makes, if they're about to introduce the Fantastic Four, you can't confuse people by having an older version.
Yeah,
I think they could do that further down the line. Have the new Mr. Fantastic meet the old Mr. Fantastic as like another world version of
like
him.
they did in that unnamed film.
Yeah, exactly. But they've got to be really careful with, But who knows? I mean, if you watch the trailer, you might be a bit confused about what we're talking about because it seems like they might be bringing someone back, which is kind of confusing. But anyway, I'll just leave Lewis kind of stewing in his thoughts there.
Cool. Let's distract ourselves by talking about the hit 1976 film Project: Kill.
I've got the wrong notes up in front of me. Here we go.
Would it make much difference?
No, because there's a good portion of this where I was asleep. No, it's about 10 minutes, I think.
Did you go back and rewatch it?
No.
Okay.
I was lying on the sofa. I'd been at work that day. It was yesterday. It was yesterday. I'd been at work and I was very tired, and I thought I need to watch through this. And then it was really boring, and then I felt my eyes close. I didn't miss much, but we'll find out.
I'm very I found myself scrolling through Reddit at times.
Yes, yeah.
But yeah, so I kind of mentioned before we started. Did I say it's got really strange a Google?
You
summary?
said that off pod, I think.
Yes.
So yeah.
So tell me what you think of this. Project Kill is a 1976 American action film directed by William Girdler and starring Lesley Nielsen before he began doing comedies. It is distributed by Troma Entertainment and Digiview Productions and was filmed in the Philippines in 1975.
So nothing about the plot at all.
No.
Interesting. I mean, those are the most interesting things about the film.
Yeah.
Troma, I didn't realise it was anything to do with them. Because do you know much about Troma at all?
I do not.
They did a lot of kind of schlocky B-movie stuff, as you can imagine from watching this. But someone who kind of got their start in Troma is James Gunn. Did some kind of Troma horror stuff in like the 90s.
I know he started doing like weird shit.
Yeah, so like Slither was one of his bigger ones, which is very like alien gory kind of thing, which you can see kind of aspects of in some of his later films, but toned down for Marvel or DC or whatever. But yeah, I thought that was interesting because I saw that quite early on when I was absentmindedly scrolling through Wikipedia. And I thought, all right, there might be some really good stuff. And there are moments of kind of fun in this.
It depends how you define fun.
Yeah, I mean, there's some bits where I thought, oh, okay, cool, something's happening. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, there was points in this film where stuff happened.
Yeah, and that was kind of interesting relative to the parts where there was a song or a landscape or Lesley Nielsen chatting up a young woman in a bar.
Yes.
Or a slow car chase or kung fu in quotation marks.
Yes. So yeah, we'll do that before we get into it. As Google mentioned, it was directed by William Girdler, who I didn't recognize any of the films he'd done. He did 9 films in the 70s before he died in a helicopter crash, aged 30.
Wow.
So quite sad.
Yeah.
And he worked with some well-known people, I think, but this wasn't one of his bigger films.
Right, okay.
Starring Lesley Nielsen, as we mentioned before. People know from Airplane, Naked Gun. But as many people know, before he kind of did Airplane, he was very much a serious actor. He did lots of like police dramas and things, and that's the Lesley Nielsen we've got in this.
Yeah, it's the stuff that those films are taking the piss of, isn't it?
Yeah.
Basically, like Naked Gun is a parody of the stuff that he was in, which is almost why it's so funny to people at the time, because it's like, because it's like taking the piss out of 70s action stuff, isn't it? A lot of the time.
There was other people in it who I couldn't really find much information on, but the other guy I recognised was Gary Lockwood, who's
the other guy?
Mr. Lassiter.
Frank Frank Lasseter. Yeah, I recognised him, but I had no idea.
So I originally recognised him because he's in an episode of Star Trek: The Original Series.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
But more people would recognise him from 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Right.
Where he plays the main guy in that.
Right.
He's also called Frank, I think. John?
No. What does he say? What does Hal say?
I'm sorry, Frank. No, I'm going to check.
I'll look it up. You carry on.
Yeah, he's best known for that, and that was
that's so weird. I googled 2001. It came up with A Space Travesty, which is the Lesley Nielsen version of
it. That's fun. He plays Dr. Frank Bull.
Yes. Okay, Frank.
Yeah. Yeah. So he's best known for that, which came out
1968.
Yeah, 8 years before this. So
yeah,
past his best.
But like a big name at the time.
Yeah, I mean,
speaking.
the two of them were big names in the mid-70s.
But yeah, this film seems like a real forgotten. I'm not going to say gem, but a forgotten film.
Yeah,
because the version that I don't know, the version you watched is incredibly bad quality.
I watched it on YouTube.
Not remastered at all. Yeah, the whole film's on YouTube.
I think it was quite low budget.
Yes, it felt that way.
I couldn't find the budget.
No, I didn't do any research.
Everyone in it and the director were doing bigger things before and after this.
Yeah, so almost like a passion project, but without any passion in it.
Yeah, pretty much. So yeah, it has some Filipino cast as well.
Yes,
because it's set in the Philippines.
I think was the whole thing filmed in the Philippines. It's just the first scene is set in the US. Is that right? Yeah. So cheap to film at the time as well.
Sorry, say that again.
Cheap to film. Cheap to film at the time as well.
So I was reading my notes. Yeah, so there was 0 reviews of the critic reviews of this on Rotten Tomatoes.
Wow, okay, we're breaking new ground there.
Yeah, we could be the first once we finally link up our.
We just need
podcast
to
have. Rotten Tomatoes.
We've talked about this before, but you can pay to have an auto script of your podcast.
Yeah.
So if anyone wants to do that for free, we can then put the scripts on the website with a review and then link it, and then that way we're official critics.
Yeah.
The dream.
But it does have an audience score.
Okay.
Of 10%.
Wow. That's the worst we've ever seen.
Yeah, quite possibly. And the IMDb, did you see the IMDb?
Was it like 3?
3.7.
Yeah.
Which is like, and I don't know about you, but I looked at the reviews on IMDb after, and they're quite funny because people hated this.
Oh, cool. Well, maybe we can have a look at some. Here that's the low rating alarm that goes off whenever we review something. It's under 5.
Yeah, I don't even know if the listeners will hear that. There's a beeping sound in the background.
Yeah, it was.
So should we get into it?
Yes. Let's get through it quickly.
So yeah, there was a really, really, really long opening credits.
The opening credits is I've written boring already, long as fuck intro.
It literally takes 5 minutes of just like names.
But it's just like close-ups of like offices and like it makes it seem like it's going to be this like slow burner espionage thing, which I guess is what they're going for.
Yeah, but like before one word of this film is said, I was bored.
And then the actual intro says somewhere in the United States, and then it's so fucking dark.
Yeah.
So like, I messaged you about this at the start. I was almost like, let's watch something else. I kind of wish I had.
Nah, I'm glad we watched it. So yeah, at the start, he's got a bunch of like military people sitting in a room, and they'll being shown a film.
Oh, do you see that first? I think mine just. Yeah, maybe I missed that.
And then
I think you watched the film first, so it's all just like dark.
I think they sat down, and then it goes dark and the film shows. And there's a bunch of like shooting. It's dark. You can't really figure out what's going on.
And then someone's on fire, and there's like loads of screaming.
Yeah, there's like an explosion. Yeah, a man on fire, and yeah, it's hard to really tell.
It's kind of insane. I kind of liked how weird it was. Because I think we are supposed to still see more. It's just that the version is like a copy of the copy. I think you're supposed to be able to see it.
I think maybe it's just like it's in the dark. It's scary. You don't know what's happening.
Yeah, but they're like supposed to be watching some. It turns out it's a recreation of some battle or something, isn't it?
So, So then like the lights come on. You've got like 15 guys sitting in a room
wearing like, it's almost like the kind of stuff you see in like an Austin Powers film. They're wearing like weird tracksuits, but they're also like sailor suits. They've got like weird trims, and they all got the most ugly 70s hair. They're all ugly old men.
Yeah.
Or like they're like middle-aged. They've all got like fucking the boy from Licorice Pizza, like little comb overs at the front.
And there's one guy with an eye patch randomly. And like they're talking about getting like elite soldiers.
They're supposed to be like the best of the best. They all just look like dumpy old men.
And one's got an eye patch. You can't be the best soldier with an eye patch. Like, I'm sorry if there's anyone out there
a little bit
who's missing
ableist
an eye,
there.
but like depth perception.
But they're like super soldiers, right? It's very strange.
They're gonna be, yeah.
Well, yeah, because they talk about, so Lesley Nielsen is the instructor.
Yeah, he's talking to the group,
and they're a special unit, best of the best.
He's saying they're going to reach goals that they never dreamed possible through vitamins and injections.
Yeah, he says like, what's he say? He says like, you will become a reflex.
Yeah.
Yeah, vitamins to increase stamina, injections to boost other stuff.
They're essentially going to program them to be like ultimate bodyguards.
And God, we see what they can do, and it's not much, to be honest.
Yeah, I kept forgetting that some of these characters are super powered.
Yeah. And he talks about, I think they're supposed to be anti-political assassination.
Yeah.
But then, like, in the next scene, he says, oh, but we're being made to do assassinations. And it's like, fuck it.
Yeah, they're meant to be like, bodyguards. And we're told that Lesley Nielsen's playing a guy called Mr. Trevor.
John Trevor.
Yeah. And Gary Lockwood is his like second in command, and he's Mr. Lasseter.
Yeah, Frank Lasseter. You just got the misters down.
Oh, because they said at that point, you will only know us as Mr. Trevor.
Right.
So my whole notes that Trevor and Lasseter.
My notes, what you were saying about they all look like bad. They're supposed to be super cool, but one guy looks like a massive nerd.
Was it the guy with the big glasses?
Yeah, he had like big 70s like pedo glasses. And I've got everyone has terrible haircuts.
Yeah. And then like Lesley Nielsen leaves, and Lasseter like says to them, "What's your project?" And they all shout, "Shit!" They all shout. They all shout, "Kill!"
And if you watch, there's a trailer that you can watch where it plays that bit like 5 times and it keeps zooming in. Kill!
Which is funny because they're meant to be bodyguards, not assassins.
Yeah, I don't know why they're Project Kill. I also thought that Lesley Nielsen was called Mr. Crabber. I don't know why. I wrote down that instead of Mr. Trevor.
Mr. Trevor.
I know, I wrote down Mr. Crabber.
But yeah, so Trevor and Lasseter like go to Trevor's office. And they're like, oh, the reaction to the film was good. And it's like, really?
Yeah, Nielsen, what's he called? Trevor. He's like, the program's getting more extreme, more drugs, more mind control. Yeah. And I'd missed a bit, and I was like, what are they talking about? Because I didn't know there was any mind control involved.
Yeah, and Lasseter's a bit concerned. And then we find out that they're both on the drugs.
Yeah, they're like members of the team or whatever. Yeah, and the other guys
been
were
doing
recruits.
It for years.
Yeah, and does he say at this point like how long since you're on the drugs or whatever? Because we find out they have to have like regular injections, otherwise they go insane or something.
Yeah,
and a lot of this plot revolves, or at least according to Wikipedia, if you look on there, there's a very confusing description.
Yeah, the plot on Wikipedia is
apparently Lesley Nielsen's character is supposed to, we'll get to it, go insane and become violent, but that's not what happens in the film at all.
No,
he's just trying to escape.
Yeah, so basically he's unhappy that they're becoming hitmen.
Yeah. He says, I'm going to hold a press conference, he says.
Yeah.
It's like the most 70s answer to it. I'll hold a press conference.
And Lasseter like makes a phone call because he's like, shit, I need to stop him.
Yeah.
And then Trevor like hits him over the head.
Yeah. And then there's a really funny scene where John Trevor's driving out of the facility in his like 70s like car, and the security guard like leans in the window, is like, "Hey, what's going on?" And he just like punches him out the window. He just knocks him out while driving and just carries on.
And then there's like quite a long montage of him flying to Manila.
Yeah. And they don't ever say like the Philippines. You just have to.
No, there's a sign at one point where you land saying "Welcome to Manila,"
and the taxi says Manila.
But apart from that, you just have to figure out that they're in the Philippines.
Yeah. And then he gets to where he's staying, and there's just like loads of kids. They're all just like running after him. Like they're all excited to see like an old white man.
Oh, I think I missed that. Between us, we watched this film,
and then he goes to
this like house.
Yeah,
and he presses the button, and someone's like, "Go away."
And does he break in?
Yeah, he just like walks in.
Yeah.
And then he gets like jumped.
He gets grabbed by one guy, and this other guy's like, you son of a bitch, and like cocks a gun at him.
I literally written down, "You son of a bitch." It reminds me of Rick and Morty where he's doing the highs. Like, "You son of a bitch, I'm in."
Or like, was it Predator when they first meet and they do that intense
"You son of a
handshake?
And it turns out it's his friend Carl, who's now in a wheelchair, who used to be in the project.
Yeah, so he used to be in the project, or they were comrades in some way.
And there's another guy there called
Hook, who doesn't have a hook hand, and he can't speak.
Does he? Can he? No. Does he not speak at all?
No, he doesn't speak at all. Because we don't realise, there's a conversation later where John Trevor is just talking, and he's just like nodding. So I just assume he couldn't talk.
No, I think about it. He didn't. But was he also in the project?
Yeah, they both were. Wikipedia says they're his old comrades in arms or whatever. So
right,
I haven't got it open. I'm just remembering.
So yeah, they like sit down and eat dinner.
They're constantly drinking, these two.
Yeah,
and he keeps going, "Oh, have another drink." And they're just having this catch up, and he's like, "Tell me where you've been the last 4 years."
Like reminiscing.
And I've just written, "It's fucking boring. Like, this is boring."
Yeah, and Trevor says sorry to him about the whole project thing.
Sorry about the project.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I didn't mind much of it.
And then we get the kingpin of Manila, don't we? That guy.
Yeah, so like a car pulls up at an airport, and the guy steps out, and he's like the kingpin, got like this white suit.
Yeah,
he's called Arok Lee. We find out later.
Yeah, I got that from Wikipedia, but I didn't write it down.
Right. So he knows about Project Kill. And he's like, let's find Trevor because I want to get his knowledge.
Yeah, on Wikipedia it says like to get his blood, but I don't know if they actually ever say that. It's kind of like the whole super soldier thing in Marvel, isn't it? Like he is, because he's off he's away from the protection of the program. He's vulnerable to his secrets being.
So he like sends people out to go find Trevor.
Yeah. This is when John and Hook are talking at night.
Trevor's got like a headache, so he gets up and
because he's got withdrawals from the drugs.
Yeah,
I think.
It's the only really thing we ever see about the drugs that it gives him headaches.
Yeah,
I never see him having like super strength or super speed. He just gets headaches.
It's
like he's been injecting a hangover.
Yeah,
the last 10 years.
Injecting something to stop the hangover. And
yeah,
he's getting a hangover. There's something about money in this bit, and John wants to go somewhere. Yeah, but it's all very unclear. And Hook's just like the whole time. So that's why I thought he can't speak.
I've written here, this film is very poorly acted.
Yeah. Oh yeah, my next bit. There's it's the next day, and I've got the dialogue is so bad it feels like a comedy because John's like sneaking to try and like leave or something, and he gets spooked by Carl, and Carl's like, "You're about as sneaky as an elephant." And John goes, "Thank you, I'll remember that next time I'm in a tight spot." And Carl says, "You'll need to remember it before then if you want to get your butt out of that tight spot." I'm like, what the fuck is this? It's supposed to be like serious. Well, maybe it's not, but
it's so silly.
It's what, at least 5 years before Lesley Nielsen gets into comedy. So maybe they use this as like, oh, he's good at doing stupid stuff.
But basically
and then there's weird shots of the plane landing between.
So Cole's gonna get him a boat so he can leave, and it's literally cut into this plane landing for like split second
between the lines of their dialogue.
Yeah,
it's like
literally
hello,
flashes
and
up.
then it's like a plane landing, and it's the same long shot cut.
It just flashes up every couple of seconds,
and that's the only time anything like that really happens.
Yeah, it's so weird. I had to go back and check like.
See, this is the kind of shit that was happening in Project Infinity. And you know what? There's actually some scenes like that. There's some the whole ending, in the docs felt exactly like this. It felt very much like.
We'll get to that. Basically, there's a Interpol thing out that.
Yeah, we get
Trevor's wanted,
like a scrolling text of the wanted.
They say he's like forged documents and stolen some plates.
Yeah, it's like the money press plates, I imagine.
Right.
If you've seen Rush Hour 2 at all, that's what that's all about.
Right.
And it's Frank Lasseter's getting off the plane.
Yeah,
isn't
like that. It seems like they've sent agents around the world, but it just so happens his former like friend has been sent to Manila, which I think's a coincidence.
Yeah, I don't know, to be honest. He's meeting with some guy about he's like the head of police or something.
Yeah, he goes to meet the police.
And he tells him about the cover story of the plates because they're like, he's like, tell me more information, and he's like, I won't, like, I can't. It's just the plates.
So yeah, Lasseter says, "Oh, you should go look at Americans because there's quite a lot of Americans living in the Philippines." And he's like, he's probably got some contacts. That's who he's probably talking to.
So does he know? They know about Carl and Herc, and he's going to go meet them. Is that what's happening?
I think so.
Like eventually, but yeah. And then there's a weird bit in a car park garage
before that, the police warn Lasseter that it's not the Americans you should be looking out for, it's Alok Lee,
right? The local like, mob people,
and Lasseter also says that Trevor's gone mad because he's terminally ill and has run away.
Right.
So that's their.
So he's got nothing to lose, kind of thing. Yeah.
That's their warning. Although I don't think that's true. And then we get this bit where it's randomly we're in a car park.
I think Frank's so he's like almost left the police station or whatever, and he's going to get in his car, and he's with this reporter woman who's like kind of like his love interest, but there's never really any chemistry or anything with them.
There's a weird bit later on.
And she lives in Philippines, in Manila, and she's got connections. So she's kind of his guide as well.
Yeah.
But she also wants to report on it. But then it's a bit stupid because he's doing a secret mission. So I don't know why they put him with a fucking reporter.
Yeah.
And then this random car just like
flying into the car park and like crashes into a wall.
It like tries to hit them, I think.
I wasn't really sure what was going on, who was who in this, but someone
I think
gets
he does
killed.
have super strength in this, like a little bit. Like
I didn't really notice. He kills someone though.
Yeah, he like I think he like one punches people kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like one punch man.
So like he kills that person and then just like walks off.
Yeah. And he comes back later and they're like, sorry about that. And he's like,
yeah.
We'll get to that though.
So then we get the scene after that of Lasseter like driving down and this woman reports in the car.
Right.
And she's like not happy that she's just seen him kill someone, and he's just like, sometimes you have to do that kind of thing. He very much brushes off the fact he just killed somebody in cold blood. Then they go to the hotel and they're like, "Oh, you have a friend waiting for you at the bar," and he's like, "I don't have any friends."
Yeah, she's like, "Do you know anyone here?" And he's like, "No." And then after they check in,
so they like goes to the bar.
Yeah, and this really weird guy like walks up after. It's like the most 70s thing. Like you would.
Yeah.
He's like, I know Frank Lasseter. Can I book the room next to him for business?
Yeah.
And they're like, sure.
Okay. Nothing ever comes of that.
No. He sneaks in and like, no, it does. We'll get to it. We'll get to it. We'll get to it.
But yeah, anyway, he goes to the bar and there's these two local men standing at the bar, and he doesn't know them, and they're like, "Oh, don't worry, we don't hold a grudge for you killing our friend in the car park."
Yeah,
it's like,
and he's just like he's like pissed off. And then wait, where are we?
We get a quick shot, and they're like, "Oh, stay with a drink with us."
No, so we get a shot here of
the guy setting up in the hotel room.
No, he's going into Frank's hotel room.
Oh.
And he steals some stuff from his room, or he puts a bug in it or something.
I thought he was in his own room.
Because we find out later that his case is missing, which has his drugs in it. And I don't know if that happens now or later. Because we do get a really long shot later of him like shooting up. So I think his drugs haven't been stolen yet. But I'm pretty sure he's supposed to be in Frank's room because he's like rummaging.
Right, I thought he was just on the phone in the other room.
Even though Frank has gone straight to the bar, but I guess he went up to his room first, then went to the bar. But anyway, these guys are like, you better be more careful. It's like a very thinly veiled threat. And then Frank's just like, just starts punching them in the middle of the bar.
Yeah, it literally, and like, it.
Oh no, before that, he's like, he says to the woman so that she doesn't come with him. He's like, "Oh, do you want to go look at those fish over there?"
Yeah,
because there's like loads of in every place. There's like massive fish tanks of like too many tropical fish for one tank.
It's bad fighting, and there's lots of screaming. It's just like,
but he's like fucking smashing them. Like it's not like it's not like choreographed.
Oh, there's no choreography.
He's like fucking
film.
swinging for them.
Yeah.
And he like knocks someone, like it's very quick, but he knocks someone like into a table.
Yeah.
And it seems like the kind of thing that's, it's the start of like, like with Project A, there's going to be a big fight. And then it just cuts to no one's reacting in the restaurant. And he just goes, "How are those fish?" to the woman. And then they walk away. And he goes, "How are the pretty fish?" And it's like no one in the restaurant. There's no repercussion from him just beating two guys up. And it's very, and this is the really long shot then of him just injecting himself in his room. It's just like an in-between shot between two bits.
Yes.
And then he gets a phone call from his like superior.
He's like giving some details about something or other. And he's told to act fast.
But the guy is like really, like normally, right? If a superior calls, they're like, "Right, do you need to like?" They've got like a. He's like, "Yeah, you need." He's like, "You better be quick." He's like, "You better be quick, Frank." He's like really snivelly.
But also, there's later on he's on the phone as well, and it's so clear that the other end of the phone is added in after, because there's bits where
I think that's what it is. I think they're rushing to match with what he's saying.
Yeah, because there's bits where
Frank, you better do it.
He like interrupts the guy and answers his question before the question's like fully been asked. And it's like, they've literally said to Gary Lockwood, like, "Here's your lines."
They're probably holding it off camera.
Yeah, and he's like, have a gap between each line. So he's just sitting there reading the lines, and then after they need to add in the bits in between.
And there's no creative cinematography at all. Like it's all just boring shots of people like sitting in hotel rooms.
Yeah,
not even like
from an interesting angle.
They don't even change to like a glass on the windowsill, a cigarette smoking, and a thing. Like it's just like a long shot of him just like there.
Yeah,
it feels like a TV show, doesn't it? Like a bad
TV show.
A bad TV show.
So yeah, then we're back to
John.
Yeah. And he's got a headache again.
And he looks like a dad on holiday. Or like a young granddad or an old dad.
He's like out in the sunlight, standing under a tree.
And he's got like one of those like kind of fisherman vests on.
Yeah.
And like slacks. And he's just standing like looking at the distance kind of thing.
Yeah, and he like hears while he's having a headache, he hears a voice saying, here's his voice going, "Control is the key."
Oh yeah,
and it kind of brings him back.
He's having weird like withdrawal.
Yeah,
but it's like a slow motion of him like holding his head and like holding his arm on a tree, like.
And then this woman comes up and asks if he's okay.
Yeah,
she's called Lee Sue.
That's right.
And he's like, "Can I walk with you?"
Yeah,
because she lives like right there.
Yeah, they're all. He seems to have left the other place with. Was he called Gary? Or did I make that up?
Carl.
I don't know. Carl
and Hook.
Carl and Hook. He's left them and he's now living on like a holiday estate kind of thing.
Is he living there? We don't really know.
Well, he's staying in like it's like a bunch of villas with like a shared. Yeah, it's like a resort kind of thing. And she lives there as well. Yeah, and
there's some really weird sound editing here.
We get like the weird. Is this the weird song bit?
No, before that. Right. So there's bits where like the score is playing, and then the like camera angle changes and the music just stops suddenly, like mid note.
Yeah,
then it changes shot again and another bit of music starts. And it's like they put the score to the film and then edited it down
afterwards. Yeah, it feels like this must be a weird version that we've watched, but I think it's just a shit film, to be honest.
Yeah. Like you do the music after you finished editing the clips, right?
Yeah. We get we kind of get like a long bit where there's like romantic flute music. It's very like 70s.
Yeah.
It almost feels like a knockoff Bond theme from the 70s.
Yeah.
It's like
is very like Bond-esque.
Yeah.
Or like trying to be.
Yeah, and it's the music, the entertainment at the restaurant bar of the villa place they're at.
Yeah, and there's like a woman singing.
And it's a very long kind of, it's not even a montage, but you see a lot of the singing.
Yeah. It's like as if it was like you say, a Bond song that's for a Bond film. They might have an extended bit
in the film. Yeah.
Whoever done
Billie Eilish is at a bar, and I was gonna say James Cameron. What's he called? Daniel Craig. Daniel Craig. Is he called Daniel Craig?
Yeah.
Daniel Craig. I can't, names just don't mean anything to me.
But like,
Daniel Craig comes into the bar to look for Anna de Armas, and Billie Eilish is singing her song for the film, which is something they probably wouldn't do now. But in the 70s, they may
like
well
Shirley
have done
Bassey
that.
singing,
probably
and,
would have been better. Wouldn't it?
And Sean Connery walking in,
Paul McCartney singing in the bar.
Yeah, but that kind of thing. And they clearly made this song for this film. I think it was released.
Was it? Yeah. Okay. I don't know.
Probably not too much success.
My note here is, I feel like I'm about to fall asleep.
So we see that Trevor's arrived at the bar and he sees Lee Soo sitting on her own, so goes and sits with her. And then we cut back to,
well, it kind of feels like he's imposing on her, but then she's like, no, I was waiting for someone to join me. And I was like, all right, fucking.
It seems like, when you see on TV where it's like a middle-aged couple who, like, for Valentine's Day have a thing where they don't know each other.
Yeah.
And they do it on like Modern Family and things like that.
Yeah,
it's
like a role play kind of thing.
It's like a couple pretending to don't know each other.
Although, like, he looks like he's her grandfather.
She's like 30.
Yeah, but
maybe 35.
It's very hard to tell with Lesley Nielsen because he's probably only about 40 in this.
Yeah,
but he looks like he's about 70.
I need to have a look at how Lesley
he's
Nielsen.
Looked. I mean, to be fair, to his credit, he probably looks.
He looked exactly the same for like 30 years.
Yeah. Although when you look at him on
he
IMDb,
was 50 when this came out.
He died in 2010.
Yeah.
He must have been like 90.
He was 84 when he died.
He must have been about 84 when he died. Bloody hell.
Yeah. But yeah, he's always just kind of looked the same. He's always had that like white short hair.
Yeah.
He looked about 60 from when he was about 45 to when he was about 80. He looked about 60.
He was first married in 1950, and then his fourth wife he married in 2001. That's
pretty mad.
That's a long space of marriages. It's quite Oh, she was a nightclub singer in 1950.
Ooh.
Very, very on brand for the kind of character.
Yeah. But anyway, it cuts to Cole and Hook.
Yes.
At their little house, their bachelor pad, they live in together.
And they hear people outside.
Banging on the door.
Yeah, I think before that they can hear like cars approaching and stuff.
Yeah.
And they're like, they know that people are attacking, so they pour themselves like a big drink before battle.
Yeah. And they don't answer the door, obviously. They get like ready.
Yeah.
And then these people come in like fighting.
So Carl's in a wheelchair and he's got like a gun and a bottle. Yeah. And Hook's like ready to fight, like on his feet.
And there's quite a funny bit where someone like jumps to like fight Carl, who's in a wheelchair, and he's like fighting him off from his wheelchair, and then gets pulled down to the floor and he's beating him, even though he's...
Well, first of all, he does like a bottle smash on one guy, and then he's shooting another guy. He's doing quite well for a bit, and then he's just on the floor.
Eventually gets overpowered. Hook gets shot.
Yeah, Hook's doing really well, and then he gets blasted by a shotgun.
Yeah.
And then the Kingpin guy just like strolls in while Carl's still being fought. I'm like, maybe I think
by that point they've got Carl grabbed him.
But still, it felt a bit like premature. But
it's Alokli. He wants to know where Trevor is.
Yeah.
And Carl's like, I don't know. I haven't seen him in years. And he's like, I'm going to torture you until you tell me.
And he like spits in his face, and I missed what happened, and I just saw it. You can see some stuff on his face, and I was like, fuck is going on there? Like, why did he get stuff on his face? So I had to go back, and then I went back too far and had to watch the fight again.
Oh no.
Which is not the best fight in this film.
Oh, is there a good fight in this film?
But it's not the best fight in this film. There are other fights that are better. I don't know, it's quite cool, actually.
Maybe the one at the end, just because of
the final blow is pretty great.
So we're back to Trevor and Lee Soo.
Yes.
And they're just like leaving the bar and they walk along the beach and they kiss. It's
not
that is like 5 minutes.
It's a weird hug where he kind of hugs her really tightly and then kind of like they smush their faces together. My note here is John hugs that woman and they kiss. So I think I was probably a little bit sleepy.
Then the police arrive at Cole's house.
Yeah, it's a crime scene kind of thing. Yeah. It's like when police turn up the next day and they're like, right, what happened here? And we're like, we've seen it as the audience.
And Lassiter arrives and the police was like, oh, it's interesting that you're here. And he's like,
has he come to follow the lead. And he's just turned up, right? Yeah,
pretty much.
Because my note is didn't listen to any of this. So I'm glad you figured out what's going on. Frank and some police, and then we see Carl dead, hanging up at one point. Do we? Because later on we see a guy hanging up, and he's kind of got like blood on him. We see that again. That it's a very brief shot of him, like he's been tortured, kind of thing.
Oh yeah, I guess so.
And I forgot I didn't really see that, but
so Trevor tries to call Carl.
He wakes up in bed with Lee Soo.
Yeah,
so he's like,
and there's no answer. And Lee Soo's like, "What's wrong?" He's like, "Oh, nothing. Just trying to get in contact with an old friend," because she doesn't know that he's like whatever he is.
It's kind of like Captain America. Like old Captain America.
And then he's getting like really existential. Like,
right, this next bit is fucking stupid. So the way that they find John is he's just driving past with Lisa.
Oh yeah,
he's just driving past, and they go, "Hey, look, it's John!" And they start chasing it.
I think that was one of my favorites.
It's like they couldn't have thought of any other way.
Yeah, they needed to find a way to put in like a car chase, and it's literally Trevor and Lisa driving down the road. And there's some it's like the mob guys.
No, it's the police guys.
Oh, the police.
Yeah.
They just stand at the side of the road, like smoking, sitting on their car. They're like, "Wait, look, it's Trevor."
I'm pretty sure Frank's with them. I think the whole lot that are chasing.
They're just in a car. They're just sitting on a car on the side of the road.
I think is they're not even like they're going like a normal speed. I don't even know how they saw them, but it's so stupid.
And at that point, they're not actually 100% sure Trevor's in Manila.
Yeah, that's the thing.
They haven't seen him.
And I wrote decent short car chase. Like there's a couple of cool camera angles. It's very 70s kind of Starsky and Hutch where it is clearly mounted on the car, but it's so short, the car chase. They don't really get started.
I kind of blinked and missed it.
Yeah, it feels like Starsky and Hutch, Dukes of Hazzard kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or even like what is it? The James Bond, Roger Moore. Yeah, this kind of era as well, is it?
Yeah.
Maybe a bit after. But yeah, and then whose car crashes? The other guys. Not
Trevor
John.
rams the police car off the road.
Yeah.
And keeps going. Yeah, and then we get Lassiter talking to the police, and they talk about the car chase.
And he says he doesn't have his drugs at this point, which made me think that maybe his stash was stolen by the guy in the hotel room, and he had maybe some separate.
Oh,
because
I thought he was saying that Trevor didn't have his drugs.
They do. They're talking about that initially, and then he says, "How long since your last injection?" He says, "Oh, I've only got a few left or whatever."
It was really, really, really hard to pay attention to this film.
It's the most boring film I think I've ever watched in my entire life.
I don't think it was as boring as the Lazarus Project.
No, because at least I knew what was like. I knew what was going on. It was just there was in this. I didn't know what was going on.
No, it's just nonsense.
It was okay. It wasn't the most boring, but it was a combination of probably the most boring and confusing together.
Yeah. It doesn't explain like half what's going on. And then Lassiter's back on the phone with the person who's having a conversation with somebody else. And it's completely weird.
And it's very funny out of time, basically. Yeah, and then Frank's getting on a train with Lee Soo.
Yes.
And the criminals, just for some reason, are there. And they're like, "Oh, let's follow him onto the train."
Yeah, and Lassiter's at the train station. The police and
Frank.
At the train station.
Yeah, Frank. Yeah.
Train station.
Did I say John? Yeah, Frank's getting on the train. I don't know why.
Oh, yeah. I think they for some reason, know where Trevor's going. And instead of driving there...
It's like in the Zeta Project. He was going east!
Yeah. And instead of driving there, they get in the train there.
Yeah. Maybe they found...
really know why.
I don't know. But
the mob are also getting the train there.
And they're the ones who've got a problem with Frank. So they like have a fight with him.
There's like a shootout.
And John is just... I've written John is just fine where he is, boring. Maybe he's on the train as well?
No, I think he's somewhere else.
I think maybe it cuts to him and he's just like... Because the thing is, right, so the whole time I was like, Lesley Nielsen's going to be the main guy. But we see more of Frank in this whole film.
Yeah, we do.
And Frank has more action scenes. I mean, he's
also like...
He's a bit younger. But
just
like,
as an interesting character, like hunting down his former friends.
But he's not as... he's not as compelling. Like
he's not.
I mean, no one is compelling.
We do get a good bit here on the train though.
Yeah,
in the fight
with the grenades.
Yeah, he like pushes one of the mobs like into like a toilet or a cupboard.
It's like a train toilet, yeah,
and
like a sliding.
It's got like a gap on the bottom, and he rolls a grenade in there and just holds the door shut, and then gets a suitcase and holds it again, and then it explodes. And it's like none of that makes any sense.
And then I think the train just carries on. It's already started. It just carries.
Yeah,
like there's an explosion on the train, and they're just like. And there's I've got boring conversation with police chief, so I think he updates him.
He thinks that Trevor's still in Manila.
Yeah. I think I fell asleep after this. Oh yeah.
And the mob also
after the part where he goes in the room, which was quite cool. There's a hotel room bit, and there's some random guy. So John sneaks into some building.
No, that bit was cool. So this
is John. So why is John sneaking in?
Right. So Cole, when we saw him with Cole had a friend who was going to sell Trevor a boat.
Yes, he said go the next day, which is what
Cole gives him his card.
Yeah,
so he's then gone to see this boatman.
Right.
And then as he approaches the door, he overhears a conversation, and they're talking about him.
Yeah, it's like an interrogation.
So he gets his gun out and
he knocks on the door as if he's just talking to the guy.
Yeah.
And the guy answers the door like under duress, doesn't he?
Yeah, and he kind of subtly hints that
he's in trouble.
Alone.
Yeah, and then he bashes through the door.
Yeah,
it's a bit like John Wick kind of stuff. Like,
he literally jumps the door and quickly turns and shoots two people.
Yeah, and he shoots one through the door, assuming someone's behind the door. Like it's short and it's not very well choreographed, but it was quite. Yeah, it was quite cool. Little, and then he kind of beats. There's three guys. I think he beats one up and shoots another one, shoots another one, shoots.
So he's talking to the boat guy who finds out that Cole's dead.
I fell asleep around this part.
So he tells him to go pour a drink, but he's like, but don't leave my sight. It's like it's weirdly suspicious.
He doesn't trust him at all.
Here I've written, the guy's the boatman.
Yeah, see, I didn't know this.
But he still wants his boat.
Right, is that why he's going to the docks at the end?
Yes.
Right, I had no idea why anyone was going anywhere in this
I now remember. At the time I was like, cool, they're at the docks. But yes.
I just thought that's a cool place to end, like a 70s film.
But yeah, he wants a boat.
I think most 70s action films seem to end at a dock. I know the Starsky and Hutch remake with Ben Stiller and Owen Wilson, that ends at a dock, so maybe that's parodying something. Yeah.
But yeah, he's gonna ring Lee Soo and he's gonna arrange to get this boat. And so his plan is to get Lee Soo and ride off into the sunset on the boat.
Yes.
The woman he met like the day before. Project Gutenberg, and so they get a boat and ride off, and then she turns on him.
Yeah. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Of course, you've listened to this episode, so that episode
probably my favorite film that we've watched.
Yeah, if you want to hear Lewis talk about a film he actually did like,
instead of all the shit we watch these days. So yeah, then we see last two of this reporter woman.
Yes,
and he's like,
I saw this part.
He's like trying to get her to come into his house, and she slaps him. And then we find out that he's like been talking to people back home and trying to get rid of her, trying to get her sent home because it's unsafe.
Oh wait, man, I didn't see.
And she's like pissed off that he tried to get rid of her. And he's like, whatever. And then he like forcibly kisses her.
I saw him kiss her, yeah.
And then she storms off again. And I was like, that's a really weird scene of us to being like a.
Do we not get a bit before this where he chases like some guy up some stairs and then like has a fight in a upstairs bit?
Who?
Don't know. I've written chase guy upstairs. There's a bit where they're outside and then they like see someone running up some stairs and they run up the stairs and they like have a fight in like an upstairs part.
I don't remember that bit at all.
And I think they find like a dead guy. There's another dead guy up there.
Maybe that wasn't in the copy I watched.
I think we both watched the same one. Maybe I had a dream.
I would imagine that would be last two in the mob going up to the boatman's.
Yeah.
And finding the dead mob.
That's, people. Yeah.
Because the boatman is dead. And like next we see of him, he's with the mob again.
Right. This is what. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Okay.
And then Frank kisses the reporter. Blah blah blah.
And then it cuts to Trevor like wakes up and hits Lee Soo.
What?
He wakes up from like, she's like standing over him and he wakes up and hits her.
Oh, I didn't see this.
And she's like, what? And then he's like, oh, I'm so sorry. And then he tells her that like he takes drugs.
I didn't see any of this.
Oh yeah, he's like,
I must have been drifting in and out of sleep.
Yeah, he like hits her. He's like, I'm so sorry. And he's like, I'm on drugs. He literally says, and then says that he's part of the military program. And then she gives him some drugs.
Well, just
and he's fine.
Just other drugs.
I don't know where the other drugs come from. But yeah. So she now knows who he is and knows that he does drugs, which is literally what he tells her. Oh,
I was gonna try and find the drugs bit, but I'll do that later. Hopefully the video.
So yeah, so we've got that.
When does Lee Soo get kidnapped by the Kingpin?
Later.
What? Oh my god! How long was I asleep for? That's my next note.
Oh no! So we got a bit before then. So the police. Oh wait, no. This is probably the bit where they run up the stairs.
Yeah,
the police go to see the boatman. And there's some. I've just written really bad fighting happens.
Yeah. Because they see someone like loitering. Is he like
really
maybe
bad like kung fu?
I think maybe someone is like keeping lookout at the bottom of the stairs, and they're approaching, and then they see the guy like run upstairs to tell, and then Frank starts chasing them up,
and then the police like grab Frank and like. Because he's really beating someone, and they're like, "No, we can question him."
He's like, "I want to kill."
They've got like one mob guy that hasn't escaped, and
he's
literally beating the shit out of him. And the police grab him, and then Lasser goes, "Hey, I didn't throw one killing punch." And it's like as if he's got certain punches that he knows kills someone,
it just reminds
which may come into play later.
It reminds me of Regular Show. Have you seen the episode? not the Kung Fu guy, because this is very that. But there's the death Kwon Do, where they have certain like power moves. It's like death slap, death punch, that. And they have to have the haircut and wear the jeans shorts to eat the sandwich. Do you remember that? Yeah,
yes. Yeah. Kind of.
When does Lee Soo get kidnapped?
We got more, yeah. So Lassiter's then gets into a helicopter. And he kisses the reporter.
That's the kiss I saw. So he kisses her again.
Yeah, and this time she's okay with it.
Because, you just have
he hasn't forced himself.
You have to break that seal by forcing.
You just have to keep trying.
You have to force the first kiss.
Eventually, they'll say
that's
yes.
the 70s school of kissing.
And then Trevor and Lee Soo are in a car, and they get to the docks, and they kiss. And then he goes to...
Yeah, he just like walks around the corner.
I think he goes to like see where the boat is. And whilst he is looking at that, the mob grab Lee Soo from the car.
Yes.
And now Sam is awake again.
Yeah, well, I saw the kiss and I saw the beating up bit, but I just didn't write any notes because I was half asleep.
Yeah.
And then there's like an exchange thing.
Yeah, so like Trevor and the mob are both like hiding from each other, like behind like a stack of shit.
Yeah, and my note here, I've got the Kingpin's like, "Come closer, I do not want to shout." Which I thought was a really funny line.
Yeah.
And then of all things to say.
And then Trevor just like says really quietly, like, "No, I'm okay here, thanks. I'll stay here." And it's like, I was thinking, it's almost quite a self-aware comment about the fact that people always have conversations from...
It's like, have you seen Shazam?
That's what I was going to say. It happens in something.
And Mark Strong is just like having his villain rant. They're both kind of floating in the stormy skies, like, 200 meters apart, or whatever. And obviously Shazam can't hear.
It's like, what?
What's going on? It's very...
But yeah, basically, Alok Lee wants to swap Lee Soo for
Trevor himself.
Or at least like his knowledge.
Yeah, well, I think he's going to come with him and then he'll just...
Yeah. He wants to know about Project Kill.
I've got bad martial arts helicopter. So I think the helicopter lands...
Yeah, so...
But then I think he gets in the helicopter again.
Whilst...
I think Frank lands, so now he's at the docks with him as well.
First, like that, whilst they're talking, we see the helicopter coming different in the distance, and the mob panic and they run to like fight Trevor. Yeah, so he's then fighting them,
And this is the part that we saw in the trailer.
Yeah, it's really funny bits where he just puts his arms out and takes out two of them.
Yeah, it feels
bad.
It's a lot like the martial arts, I say, in Austin Powers.
Yeah,
like the judo chop and stuff.
Yeah,
which in itself is a parody of like James Bond's skills. Like a lot of them just didn't. Sean Connery could never fight anybody.
It's very like. It's 10 years later, but it's very like Captain Kirk's fighting in Star Trek.
Yeah.
I'm just
Although isn't that? Oh, that's this is 10 years later. Yeah.
And that's just lots of like punches and like slaps
and like the double fist on the back.
Fist, yeah, it's lots of that kind of fighting. Yeah.
It's like a real like stick 'em up kind of stuff.
Yeah,
like almost like World War II.
Yeah,
like barrel chested man,
like boxing. Like,
yeah.
And Trevor like beats up all the mob. He also beats up Alok Lee.
Yeah, see, all this felt a very Infinity Project to me.
Yeah,
so both
it is.
There's the scene in the
and he's a super soldier.
Yeah, exactly. Like the scene with in Infinity Project where there's the plane about to take off. That whole scene, plus the final scene when he goes like ham on the guys, and he's doing like the double fighting with the knives and the crotches and stuff. It's all very like what like. It's only like a few notches better than this, like the fighting. Do you know what I mean? Like that guy can do martial arts, but as we said in the episode, it's not well directed, it's not well choreographed at all.
If you want to hear more about that, listen to that episode. I can't remember if it was Project Infinity or the Infinity Project.
Yeah, I mean, you'll know it when you see it.
It's more Infinity in the title.
Until we do, there's a band called the Guru Josh Infinity Project or something.
Right. Okay, we'll get to
that's the song. Don't worry, I'm getting confused.
Then there's a shootout between the police and the mob.
Well, before that, doesn't he beat the Kingpin guy like to death?
Yeah, I said he doesn't beat him to death, but he beats him up.
Oh yeah, but like he's proper like going in on it.
Does he use a killing punch though?
I don't know. He doesn't say it. He doesn't do his yah.
We're coming up to the best bit of the entire film.
Frank versus John.
So then Lasseter confronts Trevor and he's like, don't do this, like, come back. And Trevor's like,
there's no stakes at all. Like, it's
and
the music it's this intense 70s pan flute stuff. And it just doesn't match at all.
It's a perfect description, but the 70s. What was it?
Pan flute.
What was the other word you said? Like intense 70s.
It's just like,
which it is, but out of context, that doesn't sound like anything.
But it's, you know what it's like? It's almost like in Anchorman when he does the jazz flute. And there's that bit where I
haven't seen Anchorman.
Oh my god. Okay, there's a bit where Will Ferrell takes his love interest out to a club, and he's kind of showing off to her. And he does this in like very long. He does like a flute solo kind of thing, and it's very like. And that's set in the 70s, so I'm assuming it's taking the piss out of this kind of thing. But if anyone's seen Anchorman, which I imagine most of you will have, it's that kind of thing.
So they have like a really bad fight that's really silly.
It's terrible.
Trevor gets the advantage against Lasseter in a headlock.
Well, there's one part. Did you say about the bit when John starts walking away?
Oh no, I forgot about that.
They like get to a bit of an impasse, and they kind of almost like they like break away from each other. And then John just starts like walking off as if it's like fine. And then Frank's just like, yeah, and then just tries to like jump kick him. And then he just like obviously hears him because he shouted. And he grabs him. And I think that's when he grabs him and gets him in the headlock. Yeah.
But then Lasseter gets up and punches Trevor like down to the ground. And then Trevor like stands up and he's feeling all weak. And they're facing face to face. And we get a close-up shot of Lasseter, who then opens his mouth widely and says,
"Yeah!"
And it's in super slow mo, and like it's his voice like layered over the top.
Yeah,
of it.
So it's like echo.
Yeah. And he slowly pulls back, and then we get like a side shot as he pushes up like his palm of his hand.
It's like a palm strike
into Trevor's forehead, and he just slowly.
I think it's supposed to be like a nose thing.
And it hits him in the forehead
because there's that whole thing of like,
and the whole time you just hear yeah,
and the silhouette isn't like the sun in the background almost. It's almost like a Karate Kid like doing the pose thing. But I think there's that whole there used to be
so it's and like Like when it first starts, you see Lasseter's face.
Yeah.
It's so intense. It's so
and it goes on for so.
Yeah!
It goes on. For, this is like that regular show thing that we talked about. Like it's gotta be. It's gotta be that.
Goes on for ages.
And I think because there's that urban legend thing of like if you hit someone in the nose, it goes into their brain. Kind of thing. I think that's kind of what they're playing on.
He doesn't immediately get killed. He falls down.
No, that's the thing.
Oh shit, Trevor's dead.
No, he doesn't instantly die. He just lies there for a bit.
And then Lee Sue arrives out of nowhere, like,
and she looks sad.
And then Trevor says to Lasseter, "Now they're gonna come after you," and then he dies.
Yeah,
and it's like, oh, it actually killed off. Which I was kind of surprised that actually killed him off.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he was probably on for one. He didn't want to do the but it would have been. Oh, you know what? Although this was absolutely awful, I would still watch a sequel to this for the podcast.
So then they give Lasseter his suitcase, but he's just standing there to the dock bit, thinking of Trevor's words of "now they're going to come for you," and he's like, "Oh shit! Like I've become the hitman that Trevor warned us that we were becoming."
Yes.
Maybe he was right. I've killed him now, but maybe he was right. And he stands looking over the docks for ages.
He's just like squinting, like he's looking into the sun, but he's just like, it's really. And then he throws his case. He's got his so at some point during this whole interaction, I think pre the fight, but post him arriving, like for some reason the police chief gives him his case that he had missing.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it was recovered from the criminals or something, but he didn't have it, and then he has it.
They gave him his suitcase at this bit again, and I'm like, I have no idea what.
Or maybe now, maybe Sue Lee gives it to him now. Lee Sue gives it to him now because she was with them and she had it.
Right.
But also, if they had the drugs, they didn't need anyone else.
Yeah.
They got it in the hotel, supposedly.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
He
throws it into the bay.
So it's
and then rather than
full of drugs.
Yeah.
Right.
But rather than it sinking, it just floats in the dock.
And then we get credits.
Yeah. I mean,
we're all put out of misery.
I wrote, that's the end, ? Boring. I mean, the fight was entertaining, but for two people who were supposed to be super soldiers, it just looked like two out of shape middle-aged men
I kept
grappling.
forgetting they were meant to be super soldiers, apart from when Trevor was getting headaches. I was
like,
oh yeah.
No, I was like hoping that there was going to be something, but then realizing there was never going to be anything to this film.
It's nonsense.
Do you remember, Lewis, last week when you said said you need to pick the next one? Surprise, surprise, Lewis picked this film.
Yeah, I saw Lesley Nielsen. I was like, oh, I've only seen him in comedies.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, when we were doing the initial research, and this came up, I thought, I was quite excited to watch it as well.
Yeah,
but
I even said to you a couple of days ago, Sam, you need to pick a film.
Yeah,
and then we started talking about the Silver Screen Project, and you never picked a film. So then I picked this, and I'm 2 times in a row I've definitively picked the film, and it's been bad.
Yeah, not even. Sometimes we throw out options and then we'll pick between them. You just went, yeah, this one, and I was like, yeah, cool. I did think it was going to be.
These last two have been arguably 2 of the worst films we've watched.
I did think it was going to be bad, but I also didn't really want to decide on another film, so I just.
We have to get through them all.
Got to get through this.
I guess we don't have to watch The Lazarus Project.
Yeah.
We also don't have to watch Project Kill.
Well, we'll try and watch something good next week.
Yeah.
Although actually,
you can decide.
No, actually, next week's already decided, isn't it?
Oh, it is. We'll talk about that later.
We will talk about that at the end.
So, before we go into anything else, have you got any
trivia? We had some trivia. I had the page open.
I did have IMDb open.
I've lost it somehow. There it is. One of them was originally we watched a trailer on YouTube about 5 minutes before we recorded, which we realized was a recut trailer, wasn't it? So somebody had made it fairly recently for YouTube. So if anyone wants to see a greatest hits of this film, feel free to check that out. It's about 2.5 minutes. It's on YouTube. If you just search Project Kill trailer, has some of the shots of the action, and kind of a funny description that you can read.
Face as he goes,
and you see that you don't see the actual moment of impact, but you'll get
the best bit.
You'll get an impression of it. It also says on there that it was based on a book, but that may well have just been made up for that. But there is some other trivia. Lewis, have you got it?
Yeah. So like most of the trivia, there's 3 bits of trivia on IMDb. I'm only going to read the top one because it's the only one that's half interesting. Which was the head of the company originally set to distribute the film was found murdered shortly before it was due to go into international release. It received spotty distribution rights because the rights were tied up in legal wrangling over the victims' estates for several years.
Wow. So that explains why maybe it hasn't had reproductions and stuff like that.
Because, the guy was murdered.
Wow. The second one I am going to read out because it is funny. And listeners, see if you think this is anything at all. Released 36 years before Bourne Legacy, 2012, another film which has similar plot elements and was also shot in the Philippines.
I haven't seen that Bourne film.
Is that the
one in the Philippines?
I can't do names today.
Hawkeye,
yeah. Jason, no. Jeremy Renner.
Jeremy Renner,
yeah. No, I haven't seen. I haven't seen that one or the one called Jason Bourne, which was the kind of weird, gritty reboot afterwards.
So, due to a lack of trivia, I'm going to read out this one review.
Oh, please, yeah. You mentioned
IMDb,
there was some,
which is 1 out of 10,
right?
With the heading "Why God Why."
Wow.
So, I don't think it has the username, so I apologize if this is your review, but I have seen many movies throughout my life, just like the next guy.
Brag.
This was something special. Project Kill is the worst movie I've ever seen. I actually bought this movie because of the comments made on this website. I thought to myself, it can't be that bad. Boy, was I wrong about that. This movie was rated R back in 1977.
Wow.
And after viewing it, I've yet to find out why.
Yeah.
Just a few things that made this film horrible include the dialogue has inflections that don't make sense where they are placed.
I think that means inflections.
He does like to say inflections. The fight scenes are so fake, I almost started throwing things at the TV. And Nancy Kwan, who plays Lee Soo,
right?
Nancy Kwan's role in this gem is absolutely pointless.
Yes. Yeah.
This movie is so bad, I just had to force myself to laugh during some parts to avoid an aneurysm.
Wow.
Godspeed to those who want to Godspeed to those who want to subject themselves to this torture.
Beautiful. You haven't got the name of the person?
No, it doesn't have a username on there.
That's a shame. They want to keep it private, I suppose.
Yeah, but if you're listening, I mostly agree with you, to be honest.
Yeah. I don't know how to use IMDb, so...
But Sam, what did you think of this film?
I thought that it was pretty bad, and I fell asleep for what seems like maybe 10 minutes.
It was really bad, wasn't it?
It
doesn't make... It's like nonsense, plot points all over the place.
The action was... If there'd been more of that action, I would have found it more entertaining.
If it was well choreographed, it probably could have got away with it.
Oh, totally. If the plot was the same, but it was Jackie Chan choreographing all the action, would have been great because... To be perfectly honest, the Project A plots weren't amazing, but the
second one's pretty silly, confusing and silly.
Yeah, it's almost similar enough to this in terms, it's not, but it's in terms of it's a little bit contrived and it's a little bit confusing.
But
there was no... Lesley Nielsen was not even... He wasn't even charming. He was just like...
It could have been anyone.
It felt like he was there. It felt like everyone was doing someone a favor on this film.
Yeah.
But they hated it, like they were blackmailed into doing this film.
Yeah. And it almost seems like they wanted to make a film in the Philippines and then built a story around that so they could film in the Philippines. Because it has got a few Filipino actors.
Yeah,
like the head of the police, Arok Lee.
Mostly bad guys, but like 2 good guys. The girl and
she's she's Chinese American.
Oh, is she?
I did read apparently she was one of the first like big Asian actresses in Hollywood and was kind of a pioneer for like Asian actresses getting roles in Hollywood.
Wow.
So
I didn't do any research.
Credit to her.
So, yeah, good for her.
I think there's a documentary about her career.
What was she called? Maggie?
Nancy Kwan.
Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, this film's bad. It's just bad.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
It's almost like on the brink of those so bad it's good films. Like it kind of, I can't remember if you've seen it. Kind of reminded me of the 1990 Captain America.
I haven't seen it, but yeah, I can imagine.
I love. And I've watched it several times, but it's really, really bad. It's almost on that level of it's so bad it's good.
Yeah, I can see that. And I've watched, I watched what is it, Assault on Precinct 13, which is one of John Carpenter's really early films.
Yeah.
Probably I think it's 1978 or something, like not long after this. And it feels like a 70s film like this, but it's good as well. Like there's the pacing is very similar. The action is better, but not massively better than this. But like there's
so bad.
but there's more like shootout and like bloodiness and stuff. But you can, it's well made. You can see why John Carpenter went on to make films like Escape from New York and The Thing. There's some craftsmanship and some kind of like auteurness in there kind of thing. Whereas this is just like, it's nothing.
Like all the shots are so basic.
It feels like it's like the bits when I'm saying Lesley Nielsen looks like he's on holiday. It looks like some footage that they've set up a tripod of their dad standing outside the villa. Like there's no, creativity at all.
It's very like,
it's bland. It was one of the most bland films I've ever watched.
And it's meant to be like an action thriller.
Yeah.
And it's, oh god,
it's not good. I'm gonna give, fucking hell, I gave Lazarus a 3.
It's different to Lazarus.
Yeah, I feel like I can't give it a 3 because Lazarus was better than this.
You think?
I mean, it was more palatable to me. But I don't think this is a 1 because
we're going that way.
There's some redeeming features. Like there was some mildly entertaining parts of it. I mean, I suppose 0 would be no entertaining parts.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm leaning towards like a 2, to be honest. But I also did fall asleep. But also that is that's a.
I mean, this is the first film. This is what episode 31 of us doing this.
Yeah.
This is the first time where I've spent decent parts of this film scrolling through my phone.
Yeah.
Which I've literally never done before.
Yeah. And it's the first film I've
but the bits, I think Gary Lockwood's scream as he does the palm hit at the end gets it off those 1 and 2s. I think I'm gonna give it a 3.
Oh yeah. I think I'm gonna give it a 2
because there's the bad bits in this that are so silly. It made me enjoy bits more than Lazarus. Whereas Lazarus, there's not really anything enjoyable.
Nothing, like, okay, I see what you're saying. Like I would show someone that trailer that we watched with the best of parts.
Yeah.
Or someone the final fight scene.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not quite funny enough.
I mean, we shouldn't be comparing it to the Lazarus.
No, but I'm just thinking it's not quite funny enough to be like a meme. Like I think.
See, that's the thing. It's the reason it's not one of those so bad it's good films is it's missing like quotable lines
and just like the action's not quite silly enough. Like this would be a known, well, unless we're the first people to like fucking watch it on the internet. But like you'd think you'd think if. It's not good enough to be fully so bad it's good. Like you say, it's not even bad enough. It's just nothing.
Yeah,
it's just the worst thing a film can be. Which is why I'm going for it too. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with this.
Worse than the Lazarus Project. The most boring film ever made.
I would much rather watch the Lazarus Project again.
See, the difference is, about 45 minutes into this, I stopped and had a break.
I couldn't watch it.
I went back and carried on. Whereas when I stopped and had a break during the Lazarus Project, I couldn't go back to it.
Fair enough. Yeah.
So I'm gonna give it a 3. The same as the Lazarus Project. And God, next week can we at least watch a film that I rate like 6?
Yes, I will. We'll see because we have a plan for next week. I know we'll watch and it's definitely going to be different to these at least.
God, if that's a 3 as well, then I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to kick somebody.
I mean,
probably you.
Yeah! We're in time. We're also in time for the next segment, which is personal projects. Not quite, but not as bad as last week.
I was expecting you to say something else to build up to it.
Okay, something else to build up to it. Personal projects.
It's personal.
Projects?
See, that works so much better. Now, which one are we going to use and put the clip in?
Oh no, we'll put the clip after the second one,
okay.
or we could just do both.
Oh no, we're going to run out of clips.
That's annoying. You got anything ready? Holstered?
No, see, no. The thing is, I haven't really got anything because a lot of the stuff I've been just listening to a lot of music instead of watching stuff,
right,
which I've spoken about before, and stuff that I have been doing other than that is centered around the Dark Knight trilogy, which I'm not going to talk about here.
Yeah, I was going to mention offhand. Yeah, I watched the Dark Knight Rises, but we'll talk about that.
If you want to hear us talk about the Dark Knight trilogy, then listen to the Silver Screen Project instead.
Yes, if you haven't checked it out yet, we'll mention it now quickly, but it's a lead up to the Matt Reeves Batman, which is coming out on the 4th here, the 4th of March. So by the time that is released, we'll have released our mini episodes. They are kind of short and snappy, kind of 15 to 20 minute episodes.
By the time this episode comes out.
By the time this comes out.
The entire Silver Screen build up of the Dark Knight trilogy.
And then we're going to watch the Batman over the weekend after it comes out and release a little episode on that as well.
A few days after this comes out, we will release our thoughts on the Batman.
So a couple of days after you're hearing this, or even as you're hearing this, it may well be out. But you can listen through the whole Dark Knight trilogy, or you can just listen to the new one, or pick and choose.
But because of that, I haven't really got anything to say for personal projects.
I've got a couple of bits because I must have forgot to mention them last time. So I mentioned a couple of weeks ago I was going to start watching Peacemaker.
Oh yeah,
the James Gunn DC Suicide Squad spin-off.
Yeah.
It is fantastic. It's one of the best TV shows I've watched for a long time.
I need to watch the Suicide Squad. And
very,
watch
very
Peacemaker.
much so. But the Suicide Squad is very, very good. It's probably it's definitely better than Guardians of the Galaxy 2. It's maybe better than Guardians of the Galaxy 1.
Whoa, that's high praise.
I really liked it.
Is it better than Suicide Squad?
It's worse than it's much, much better than Suicide Squad. Unfortunately, there's a big spoiler at the start of Peacemaker if you haven't watched it.
I'd watch the film first anyway.
I won't say much about content when it's set, all that sort of thing, because one of the main characters, Peacemaker is but very, very good.
Cool.
As I said earlier, it's kind of back to his trauma days of very kind of gory, visceral kind of stuff.
What's it on?
It's on HBO Max in the US. It's on a couple of dodgy websites in the UK. So
you're using your VPN to use your HBO Max.
I've got my HBO Max. Exactly.
You have to give me the login details for that.
I'll send that link over to you
with your login details to HBO
absolutely.
Max. Yes.
The other thing that I watched a week ago, as of recording, I saw Belfast in the cinema. And it was
nice.
It was very, very good.
I've heard it's very, very good.
It was very, very good. I went to see it for my mum's birthday. It was very good.
I like every year. I always watch the Oscar the Oscars, and I haven't really done that this year.
No, I think I've watched 3 of the Best Picture ones.
I've watched Don't Look Up, The Power of the Dog.
I haven't seen that yet.
Power of the Dog is very, very. I think it the favourites of that and Belfast.
Yeah. What I really liked about Belfast is so if anyone hasn't seen it, it's Kenneth Branagh written and directed, kind of semi-autobiographical about his childhood in Northern Ireland at the very start of the Troubles, and it's kind of like a slice of life black and white drama, very kind of artistically filmed and very well acted, especially by some of the younger cast. It's not too dire, it's obviously the situation's quite intense, but it's not super depressing. It's kind of light-hearted, and who is it? Judi Dench plays the grandmother. She's really good.
Nice.
And is it Kieran Hines?
Yeah,
he's the grandfather. They're really good
stuff at the moment.
So it's not depressing, is what I'm saying, which is nice for a film like this. We've also got June. You've seen that?
Yeah,
that's on the thing. Licorice Pizza. I've seen that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to watch West Side Story.
Apparently, West Side Story is really, really good.
Okay, I mean, I might, but...
my friend who you know, went to see it, and he said he's not like a musical theatre person at all, but
enjoyed it.
West Side Story is really, really good.
I mean, to be fair, I've never watched West Side Story, and it's supposed to be like the best version of it. So
the problem is it came out the same day as Spider-Man, so nobody went to see it.
Right? Yeah. There's also Coda, CODA in caps.
Yeah.
I've heard good things about that, but I don't know anything actually about it. We've got Drive My Car. Don't know what that is. King Richard is about the Serena.
It's Will Smith, isn't it?
And
Serena and Venus
Venus's father. It's like their coach. And then there's Nightmare Alley, which is the Guillermo del Toro one, which I don't think's released here yet. It's Bradley Cooper.
It might be on HBO Max,
and
you can watch it on your HBO.
Kate
Max.
Blanchett, yes, but no, I'll try and watch a few more of them before.
Yeah, I'll try and do a bit of an Oscar run.
Yeah, I've also been watching. I mentioned Archive 81, that Netflix thing about the occult thing with the guys.
Yeah,
it's good. It is good.
Nice.
It's a bit kind of schlocky, but it's a good kind of. If you're into like kind of occultish kind of cult stuff, and it's like
occultish cult stuff,
you know, like something that's kind of supernatural, but also like a drama, feels a bit like at times like almost like a Doctor Who or Torchwood kind of thing. Right. Decent stuff. But that's all I've been watching, reading, and doing.
Oh, I think that brings us to everyone's favorite part of the show.
The end of the show.
The socials.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for listening to this episode. If you enjoyed, please tell friends, family, co-workers, enemies, lovers, love interests, etc. If you want to leave a lovely review, you can do so.
Yeah, all podcasting platforms now have review things. It does. I'd say it every week, but it does genuinely help the show. You can just do more of this. Like if you do enjoy what we do, then just give us 5 stars and help us keep doing this.
Yeah, you can leave some kind of criticism in the 5-star review, but
as long as it's 5 stars.
It's all the algorithms kind of stuff. 5 stars pushes us up.
Like it's less. I'm less telling you that that you think we're perfect, and more it works for the algorithms of various sites. You can then tell us what you think. Or you can message us directly if you've got a bigger point to make.
Yes.
Can't you, Sam?
Yes, you can reach us via email at theprojectpod@gmail.com. Or all other socials are in the link tree in the episode description, or you can search the Project on all socials, websites.
Yeah, the Reddit is now finally up to date.
Lovely.
And I've been smashing on our clips on the TikTok, so that's getting there as well. Kind of left that for a couple of months, but that is now getting back up to date. So check us out on there as well.
Yeah,
we're down with the kids.
We are.
But I think that wraps us up.
That wraps it up. So yeah, check out the Dark Knight Rises episode. Oh no, the Dark Knight Rises and the Dark Knight episode will be out for a silver screen.
Yeah,
and the Batman episode will be out very shortly. But we'll see you for a more of a big budget modern movie next week.
I thought that's what my Lazarus project was gonna be.
No, we've got a very modern one that will be released just before we record. So we'll check that out next week, and we'll check you out next week.
We certainly will. Hear you next week.
Bye. Yeah. I love how that wasn't planned at all.
I can see you looking at me. I knew exactly what was going to happen.
Bye.
I take drugs.